In The Sims 4, in addition to having pre-built houses, we have some pre-existing Sims. In case you're not familiar, they're collectively referred to as townies and add backstory to the neighborhoods and worlds. This particular lot is called the Affluista Mansion, belonging to Jeffrey, Nancy, and Malcolm Landgrab. Technically, Johnny Zest, another townie, is their estranged son, but that's a story for another day. As their last name suggests, they are some of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest, Sims in this game, and most of their money comes from real estate. This is the house given to them by the EA team, which definitely gives rich energy, but it's extremely outdated and barren. Today, we are going to destroy it and replace it with something much more luxurious and updated. Not that they really deserve it though. I wanted their new mansion to utilize as much of the space on this large 50 by 50 lot as possible, but I wasn't feeling up to the challenge of building it from scratch myself. Instead, I went to the gallery and searched for a remodeled Landgrab mansion. I downloaded this one created by Diafri because I liked how modern it looks and all that outdoor entertainment space. As you can see, it uses a lot of EA expansion packs that I don't own, so I was missing a lot of flooring, wallpapers, and furniture when I downloaded it. I went through and deleted everything on the interior, mapped out where I wanted the bedrooms, bathrooms, and kitchen to be, and then saved it to my library so I could place this lot and start furnishing it as I'd like using custom content I've downloaded from other creators. I originally tried to squeeze this remodel into one video. The raw footage was over 7 hours long, and even sped up and cut down, it was still over an hour long. So this will be part 1, where I cover the entire first story, including the pool house. Part 2 will cover the second story in addition to all the outdoor entertainment spaces. And then part 3 will cover the third story. As always, I'll do my best to point out the CC I use as I see it. If you ever have any questions about where you can find a specific item, you can always leave a comment down below and I will be sure to get back to you. I also do my best to link a majority of the CC I use in the description box below, so it's convenient for you to download if you'd like. If you'd like to download this build, it is up on the gallery, fully furnished. My gallery ID is TheCrimsonShade. I will have all of that information linked below. You can search it by searching the hashtag professionalwomanchild or hashtag TheCrimsonShade on the EA gallery. Before I even started this build, I actually went CC shopping and downloaded some more CC. It's not new as in a new release, but it's new to my library. I downloaded a lot of sets from Tuds, and I've used their CC before, but not on my YouTube channel. So I was really excited to have more Tuds in my build because their furniture is very modern and luxurious looking, and I knew it was just going to go so perfect with this build. I use a lot of marble in this kitchen. I wanted it to feel very extravagant, luxurious in material, and a little bit impractical. I figured that they wouldn't even be cooking in here themselves. It would be a chef. And so they just selected things like materials that look pretty but aren't actually very functional. It's not like Nancy's cooking in here herself. She definitely has a chef. I also stick to a very muted, stark black and white color palette with grays thrown in there. For some reason, black, white, and gray, especially with luxurious materials such as glass, mirrors, and marble, give off a very rich vibe to me. All of the countertops are from Tud's Mirror MIRR collection, and the shininess and reflectiveness of the cabinetry is insane. Like, I can't believe that it actually looks like you should be able to see a reflection in there. That and the mirrors, any mirror in The Sims 4, it blows my mind how realistic it looks. The fridge and double stove are from Hey Harry's Coastal collection, probably some of my favorite kitchen appliances ever. I continue to clutter up the kitchen a bit. A lot of the clutter I use is from Tud's Nectar collection, as well as Hey Harry and Felix Andre's Shop the Looks and the living room set. For the bar stools, I use some from Joyce's Fox. They're very simple, clean, modern looking ones, and they're just the bar stools that I've been gravitating towards the most recently. Something I started doing with this build in particular is focusing more on intentional lighting. Typically, I will use the little saucer can lights everywhere in my builds because when the room is brightly lit, you can see the true color swatches of items, and shadows cast by objects can be annoying sometimes. However, I also really love fun lighting, both in real life and in The Sims. So I decided to try and bring it into my builds a bit more. Instead of the can lights, I integrate a lot more sconces than I think I ever have. TUDS also has these spotlights with varying degrees of light concentration that I use to brighten corners, highlight wall art, or keep a room dimly lit. Lowering the brightness of each room makes it feel sexy and moody, and less like a sanitary and impersonal showroom, especially with large empty spaces such as the dining area. Off to the side of the kitchen, there is a walk-in pantry. I basically consider it a garage for appliances, a place to store things like unsightly microwaves, blenders, toasters, and coffee machines. And actually, attached to this prep kitchen area, or breakfast bar area, is a bedroom and ensuite bathroom that I imagine would be for their live-in chef or butler. Okay, let's take a break from describing what I'm doing on screen for a second because I want to explain the backstory and personalities of the Sims that live in this house. Let's start with Nancy because she is arguably the most iconic of them all. Nancy Landgrab gives Karen Wasp Mom energy and is probably racist, but that's just my opinion. In Create a Sim, her given personality traits are ambitious, snob, and business savvy. And she's actually a level 5 minor crime lord. So she's real life evil. Her life ambition is to be fabulously wealthy, and she's doing literally whatever it takes to get there. I didn't really know anything about the townies and their backstories or that they're references to previous versions of the Sims game because I only started playing The Sims 4 recently and haven't played any other version of the game yet. There's a lot of information online, though, about the lore of these characters and how they've evolved from game to game, and I think that's really cool. I like that EA includes a lot of Easter eggs in their game development and continues to evolve iconic Sims like the Landgrabs or the Goth family. The Sims 4 is turning 10 years old this year, while the Sims franchises have been around for over 20 years now, and I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. And that's pretty cool. Okay, now let's get back to the build. So here is an example of the TUDS spotlights that I was talking about earlier. I deleted those cans lights, which normally I would leave in a space like the pantry because it's such a small area. I want everything to be brightly lit. However, after I put the canned lights in there and hit tab so I could see it at like eye level, it looked so good, and the countertops were brightly lit. I didn't feel like I needed to clutter all of the spaces, especially because it's such a small space, but with the intentional lighting, I really didn't feel like it needed a ton of clutter because the lighting was spotlighting what I wanted it to. So I carried that throughout the rest of the house. I also forgot to mention this earlier, but I'll mention it now while I'm at it putting this door frame in. All of the windows in this house, all of them, are from Hey Harry's new Clean collection. I love that set and have been using the heck out of it recently. As you may or may not know if you've been subscribed to my channel and seen my other builds, I have been featuring that window set in literally every single build, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. It's just so versatile. There are so many different kinds of windows and they all match and it looks really good. So all of the windows are from Hey Harry's Clean collection, and then most of the door frames are also from the Clean collection. I believe all the sliding glass doors that lead to the outside, and then the door frames connecting basically the east and west wings of this house are from that collection as well. The dining table, that black marble dining table, is from TUDS, as well as the overhead chandelier. I'm not sure what the chandelier is called, but I know it's from TUDS. And then those seats are actually from, I want to say Felix Andre. I'm pretty sure it's Felix Andre. And it's probably a Shop the Look collection. And then those drapes are from Pierre Sim's mid-century modern collection. I really liked the ombre effect and how it kind of went with the wallpaper. For the wallpaper in the dining room, I chose to use Felix Andre's Grove collection wallpaper. And I was a little hesitant about it because I like the ombre effect, but I wanted to use it in like a whitish gray, and the whitish gray starts with like black at the bottom and goes up to white, and it kind of looked dirty. And I didn't want this place to look dirty. I wanted it to look like it was a design choice, you know? So I went for this darker gray, which still has a very faint gradient, but I don't think it looks as dirty. I think it looks more like a lime wash. The first and second floors are also on the medium wall height, so I have a lot of wall space to work with here. And in the dining room, I was just trying to figure out how I could fill up some of that space. I used two different mirrors from Felix Andre's Soho bathroom set and built a custom mirror on one wall, and then used Hey Harry's brownstone canvases on another, just to add some visual interest. And now I'm adding a bar cart here. The bar cart is from my Shuno Sun. It's not a functional bar cart, purely decorative. The wine that's hanging on the wall is from Tud's Nectar set. Since this house is so large, I would have loved to give them multiple different bar spaces. They already have one bar that's upstairs and outdoors, but I think it makes sense to have a bar indoors by your kitchen and dining area. I'm really trying to make it work right here in this walkway space, but with the way that The Sims works on a grid system, it just wasn't going to be functional. And so I gave up on that idea and decided to put in these shelves from Tud's Beam collection. I really like these shelves because they have lighting built into them. I used lots of various clutter, which I'm pretty sure most of this is not functional. Possibly some of the books may be functional as like a bookshelf for your Sims to actually get books from and read, but everything else is purely decorative. A lot of it is from Pierre Sim, Tud's, My Shuno Sun, Hey Harry, and Felix Andre. And of course, to fill up this ginormous walkway space that your Sims definitely don't need that big of a space, I sized up this rug from the City Living expansion pack. I don't think I've ever used that before. And then for the doorway to the bedroom, actually all the doors in this house, I used this giant, very slim, modern looking door from Hey Harry's Kuwaiti set. Like I mentioned previously, this bedroom is for the live-in chef or butler. I don't have the ability in my game to hire a butler, but it is possible if you have the correct expansion pack. I have no idea what that expansion pack is. It's probably either Get to Work or Get Famous. Either way, I don't have either of those. I'm just pretending that the Landgrabs in my game do have a butler. And to indicate that, I put some aprons hanging on hooks in this room, like leading into the pantryway, because that's the first thing they put on before they get to work. The wall sconces that I use for this bedroom, as well as those nightstands, are from Tud's Cross collection. Really gorgeous set. The bed frame is from Joyce's Fox, and then the actual bedding is from Pierre Sim's MCM collection. The wood floor that I use throughout this entire house is from Charlie Pancakes, I believe. It's the Lighthouse reclaimed wood or something. And then the wallpaper that I use in this bedroom is from Pierre Sim's David's Apartment. I decided to be generous and give this Sim a desk area with a computer, or a tablet, I guess. The tablet and the desk are from 6MCC, and then the desk chair is from Joyce's Fox, but I'm very positive that that desk chair is a direct model of a chair that is available in-game, probably from high school years or university. I mean, the Sim that lives here theoretically wouldn't need a desk or have time to sit down at their tablet because they'd be busy running the Landgrab estate and doing everything for Nancy and Jeffrey because they're rich and incapable of doing it themselves. Speaking of Jeffrey, I should probably introduce his character to those who are unfamiliar with him. As the Landgrab family name and real estate money comes from him, you would expect him to be a real estate and business tycoon. But The Sims 4 only recently introduced owning property as an income with the latest expansion pack, The Sims 4 For Rent. Stupid name, I know. So actually, Jeffrey Landgrab is a lead detective working as a secret agent, which is ironic since he's married to a minor crime lord. His predetermined traits are domestic, family-oriented, outgoing, and good. Apparently, opposites do attract when it comes to Jeffrey and Nancy Landgrab. His life aspiration is a successful lineage, but I don't know who he's kidding when he married an awful sim like Nancy and chose to have kids with her, one of whom they disowned. Personally, I treat the Landgrabs in my gameplay as the villains. I don't mind Jeffrey so much, but because he's chosen to marry Nancy and reproduce with her, he's guilty by association. Johnny Zest, however, is a sweet angel baby that must be protected. I'm not going to go into detail about the history of Johnny Zest being disowned by the Landgrabs because I will save that for another video where I redo Johnny Zest's lot in Oasis Springs. But I think I have more sympathy for him because he was disowned by his parents, and also the fact that he chose not to associate himself with the Landgrabs and picked a different name, whether or not that was forced upon him. I have more respect for him. Alright, at this point I've moved on to the foyer. I will admit the 2-story atrium style entryway scared me a little bit. I was intimidated. That's why I started with the kitchen area because that's what I feel most comfortable doing in The Sims. And I really didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do with this space because I knew it was just going to be a very large, empty, kind of useless space. It serves a purpose in real life, but in The Sims it's just a big empty room and there's nothing for them to really do here. And I wanted these stairs to be the main focal point of the room, obviously, so I wasn't sure how I was going to go about this, but I use a lot of stuff from Hey Harry and Felix Andre's bathroom collection. That modular side table that I just set up along the wall in that black marble is actually from Pierre Sim's Mid-Century Modern collection. They are island counters that I just pushed up against this wall. There was nothing in my CC library that was large enough and long enough for this wall, so I used some counters instead, which would seem like an obvious fix to that kind of problem, but rarely do I gravitate towards counters to use as side tables. The painting of like tropical plants that I sized up to put above the side table is actually from Pierre Sim's Oak House collection, and it was what helped me figure out the pop of color I wanted to add throughout the entire house. So I stick with green as the like accent color because they're the Landgrabs, so you associate them with money. Money is green. Also, they live in the desert and there's a lot of obviously really warm, bright tones outside, but I figured because they are so abundantly wealthy, they can afford to run up that water bill, and they try to, like they have a giant green lawn outside, which is so bad, but in addition to having a giant green lawn outside and a pool and all of that, they also have a ton of tropical plants inside and pay a lot of money for those expensive plants and their upkeep. I hid some of these base game neon strip lights underneath the side table because I wanted to brighten up the space in a subtle way. It just feels so dark in here, especially without those can lights, and I wanted the entryway to feel really bright and open, especially because there's 2 stories and it's an open atrium. There's giant glass windows, there's a giant glass door as the front door. Felt like there should be some natural light pouring into that open area. The reason why there isn't, though, is because the way that the lot is oriented, the direction of the sunlight in this particular world and lot, I mean, it's different depending on every world and lot that you're in this game. And it just so happens that the sunlight really hits on the east and west sides instead of like north and south facing windows. Anyways, now we are on to the other side of the house. I can't recall if this is the east or west wing of the house, but if you're looking at the house from like facing the front door, this would be the right side of the house. So what I'm working on right now is basically a glorified hallway. It's very large and doesn't need to be this large, but I didn't change any exterior walls or like the shell of this build. I just kept it as it was when I downloaded it. I'm furnishing this hallway. I really struggle with furnishing hallways, and that's why I kind of try to avoid them in my builds as much as possible. I like open floor concepts instead because it reduces the amount of hallway spaces you have in a build. The sconce wall lighting that I'm using in this hallway, but also in practically every other room in this build, are from Hey Harry and Felix Andre's basic collection. Those really cool modern chairs. I would love to have chairs like that in my real life home that I stuck in the hallway. Those cream ones are from Tuds. And then I add a giant City Living 3-panel painting behind those chairs. I really like how sophisticated and modern and sleek this hallway looks. I also used a City Living bookshelf. And then the hallway kind of dumps into this back room, which has access to the backyard and pool area. But I decided to make this area the office. I was gonna make, there's like a little small room off one of the doors, the hallway. I was gonna make that an office as well, but I decided that there wasn't enough room. I really liked how much natural light this office space gets, and I think realistically, you wouldn't want to be that closed off. I mean, maybe for privacy reasons, you'd want your office to be closed off, but say Nancy or Jeffrey wanted to work at their desk all the time, I'm sure they would want really lovely views out to their property. The desk is from Hey Harry's Octave collection, and then a lot of things I use on the desk to clutter it are from Charlie Pancakes, My Shuno-san, and Pierre Sim. This circular rug is always going to be one of my favorites. It's from Felix Andre's, one of his Shop the Look collections. I add this really simple and sleek love seat from Felix Andre's Grove collection in a cream swatch. I really like this love seat. I don't love that it slopes, so when you add pillows and cushions on top, they just kind of float. And if you had tool mod, that wouldn't be an issue, but I don't play with tool mod. There is a bathroom in this wing that is technically the bathroom for guests. So it's just a powder room, and basically all the bathrooms in this entire house use the same flooring and wallpaper and pretty much the same fixtures, like the same toilet. The toilet's from Felix Andre's Soho collection. It's my favorite bathroom collection at the moment because it is the newest in my CC library. I change up a lot of the sink vanities and lighting, but for the most part, they all pretty much look the same. Definitely the same color scheme of like white, cream, gray, and black. I love decorating bathrooms in The Sims. I'll say it again and again. I know not everybody loves decorating bathrooms in The Sims. I think it's more fun, definitely when you have CC to use. However, since all of the bathrooms pretty much follow the same formula, I don't think I plan on showing all of the bathrooms in this house. Definitely, of course, like the primary ensuite bathroom, but I'm thinking I'll cut out the upstairs bathrooms on the second floor just for brevity's sake. Of course, I will include all the screenshots and walkthroughs of every room in this house. So if you are curious to see what all the rooms end up looking like, even if I don't show them in the voiceover section, they will be attached at the very end of this video during screenshots. And very last but not least, for part 1 of this remodel is the music room. I was going to make this an office space as well, but it was way too small to really fit like a sizable desk. So I decided to make it a hobby room, and specifically a music room, because I have so many musical instruments, especially with CC. I used the keyboard from City Living, a guitar that's bass game, the violin is bass game, microphone is bass game. One of those guitars is fully functional, but it's from my Shuno-san. And then I add a record player from Hey Harry's Octave collection. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with all of this wall space, but then I remembered that Hey Harry has these acoustic wall panels that are meant to absorb sound that are just kind of like 3D wall decals almost. So there's a wood version, also fabric version. I went for the fabric version and I layered them because I thought it looked weird just sticking them on the wall like that. So I stuck 3, sized 2 of them down, and basically made a wall sculpture of sorts, but just stacking these acoustic panels on top of one another, and I really like the way that it came out. And with that, I'm going to end the voiceover here. Thank you guys so much for watching this speed build. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more content, as well as follow along with this series to see how the rest of the house turns out. If you would like to download this house or check out my other builds on the EA gallery, my username is The Crimson Shade. I will have all of that information linked down in the bio, but you can also search the hashtag professional woman child or the hashtag The Crimson Shade. I will talk to you guys in the next speed build and enjoy the screenshots.